Now, our new generation is ready to carry on the spread of filth and disease. Since there are not sufficient natural controls to effectively reduce the population, men must assume the responsibility for developing this notorious
Alright, it's Sunday, July 7th. I'm going to read Gematria Analysis and New Considerations Regarding the Middle Pillar Ritual. The middle pillar, which happens to be 888 in English Gematria, ironically, and 8 is symbolic of the hourglass figure representing space-time, as we all know, as well as a cross-section view of the torus, which is of great importance in the visualizations of the middle pillar. 8 is also the number of the directional rays emanating from the central zone of the Chaos Magic Star, or Buddhist Dharma Chakra. 8 is important to the Gnostics as the Ogdoadic sphere above the Manifest 7, particularly relating to space-time in the region of Doth, which is the 8th zone on the Tree of Life, counting up from Malkuth. There are also 8 points in the perfect ashlar of the Masons, or the cube, and Christian mystics have known for a long time that the name Jesus in Greek, or Isus, has a precise value of 888. Obviously a sort of like antithesis or correlation, I guess, to the whole 666 most people are familiar with. 888 is a number of movement, change, flux, energy, and rightfully it is symbolic of the nature of the middle pillar ritual, which is aimed at generating this magical energy at will. Atu 8, or the tarot card, number 8, is strength, or lust, in the Thoth tarot deck, which shows a woman opening the mouth or riding on a lion, which connects to the ancient depictions of Ishtar, whose symbol is also the 8-pointed star. The middle pillar serves to strengthen and balance the light body, as well as reconnect as a bridge Yachida with the Nefesh, i.e. the higher self with the animal self. So it's all about this like linking or channel. Obviously the middle pillar, Kenneth Grant associates with the hollow pillar, or the hollow one, Katha, symbolic of like the hidden dimension, or the dimension again of time. Formulas of the 5 zones of the middle pillar are Aheye, I am, which is 21, Yad-He Vav-He Elohim, Lord God, or the Lord of Gods, or Lord of Hosts, 112, Yad-He Vav-He Eloah Vadath, or God made manifest in the sphere of mind, or Lord God of all knowledge, 548, Shaddai El Chai, the almighty living creature of God, of the 4 holy creatures, the man, the sexual strength of Yasad, which is 363, and then Adonai Ha-Aretz, Lord of Earth, 361. 21 plus 112 plus 548 plus 363 plus 361 is 1405, the number of Ha-Satan, or Satan, the accuser, the prince of darkness. This is a mystical allusion to the fact of the fall of Lucifer, bearer of light, into the lower or manifest magical form of Satan, the prince of darkness, the fall itself in general. 1405 is also the number of the middle pillar plus the wisdom of the Kabbalah in Hebrew, as well as the magic middle pillar Gematria spell, or the spelling, the secret middle pillar Gematria, the middle pillar chakra rituals, which is essentially what the middle pillar is about, or related with, especially if you read Israel Regardie's book, The Middle Pillar, and the light of the all. Middle pillar itself is 444, using Hebrew applied to English, half of 888, and related specifically to the 4 elements, elements being also 444. Which make up the material manifestation, or sarx kai ima, flesh and blood in Greek, of the higher energiako soma, or energy body. The 2 being conceived as the phenomenal and noumenal composites of the mystical and magical, inner and outer, or above and below. 444 is also the full Hebrew value of chi, obviously life, or the energy of life energy. The life of the energy body vitality, which is generated in the emanations of the Sephiroth also being 444, or power zones. The fourth Sephira is Chesed, mercy, whose angelic choir is Chasmalim, the bright ones, a Hebrew word with its root chasmal, or kosmal, meaning electricity. Note that the word chasmal, or chasmal, means resembling a chasm, i.e. the abyss, which separates Chesed from the supernal triad. Chesed is the first Sephira of the microprosopus, or Zaire Anpin, the lesser countenance or small face of the microcosm, and is sometimes called the cohesive or receptive intelligence, being as it contains all the holy powers, and from it emanate all the spiritual virtues with the most exalted essences. An important personal experience I had on January 2nd, 2012, which I've noted before, should be related in more full explanation in regards to the manifestation of an electric blue orb which manifested itself to me while in bed that night by glidingly or floating, like it literally just floated through the window. During this period, and I know no one would believe that, you'd have to see it yourself, and I already have wondered, well, it could have been a hallucination, I guess, but I've never had anything like that happen before or after. And I've done DMT, I've done acid, I've done marijuana, and none of it has ever done anything like that. So during this period, I've been, and 444 is both flying saucers and Foo Fighters. So that's odd with the whole Chasmalim. Oddly, right when I was in a very comfortable state, right before falling asleep, something told me to open my eyes, and to my surprise, I saw an electric blue orb come through the glass window as if it were completely immaterial. This caused me to panic, and I could hardly breathe or speak, and felt a great sense of panic, having never experienced something so outrightly alien to my senses. My friend Nick happened to also be in the room because he had been over for the night, and I attempted to yell for him to wake up and look, as he was already asleep or falling asleep. Though I could hardly find words, I was basically paralyzed. He looked just in time to see a blue light move quickly out or away from the window, but was unable to get a full view of it as I did. I told him the details of how it looked to me, like a sort of brighter, bluer, and more dense sort of novelty plasma globe lamp, which strangely seemed to cast no reflecting glow on the surrounding walls or the window pane itself. Nick and I discussed whether it could have been someone with a flashlight outside or a headlight reflection, but the problem with both of those is the fact that if anyone were outside the window, we would have heard them walk up and definitely run away, because I can hear when someone is walking by 5 feet away, much less right up close, because I had gravel outside. Also, noise would have been made if it were a vehicle, which there wasn't, being as it was about midnight or shortly thereafter. However, the memory of what I saw and the effect it had on me, leaving a case of goosebumps to last about an hour, was too strong to write off as anything other than what it was as I experienced it, which was me looking up to see a glowing orb, again 444, enter my bedroom and then quickly fly out as I panicked. The reason I'm noting this personal experience is because in A Practical Guide to Kabbalistic Symbolism, Gareth Knight mentions clearly that the Archangel of the Sephira of Chesed, Zadkiel, as well as the Order of Angels, Chasmalim, or Brilliant Ones, can be built up in imagination, the Archangel having an especial link with the symbol of the orb. 444 is the triple or three-dimensional extension of Chesed. Remember, three-dimensional is 333. Is rightly allocated to the power of electricity and materialization, being as it is the first zone of the emanation of light through the refractory prism of Thoth, also related to the 4 and door symbolism in space-time. The figure of 4 is specifically related to the symbol of Jupiter, its planetary representative, but is also reminiscent of the crossed legs of the hanged man, who symbolizes the adept crossing the abyss, or the crossing of spirit and matter divided by the waters, mem or mu, of space, or space and time. This crossing is symbolized by the cross of the elements of matter, the symbol of the X and the O. This is the main wheel of the wheels within wheels, and as such it is given the god name of El, or Al, 31, which also reduces to 4. The main symbol of Chesed is, however, the square, a symbol of the Masons which, together with the compass, can be illustrated in the letters A as the compass and L as the measuring square. A, or Aleph in the tarot, is 0, the circle or 0 point of origination which the compass traces, the Fool in his dance of Maya, and L is Lamed, attributed to justice or adjustment, which shows Mayat, the balancer and measurer, in the diamond. Both Atus in the Thoth deck show a form of the diamond. The Fool is literally holding one, and then Mayat is surrounded by one. Also related to Chesed and the 4. Another form of 444 is Adi Vajradhara, or Vajradhara, primordial diamond holder, or simply the Vajrahara, Sanskrit for the diamond holder, or bearer of the thunderbolt, a title of the ultimate primordial Buddha, or Adi Buddha, Dorje Chang in Tibetan. Vajradhara, Sanskrit, the diamond holder, the first Logos, Supreme Buddha, or Adi Buddha, equivalent to the Tibetan Dorje Chang. As the Lord of all mysteries, he cannot manifest, but sends into the world a manifestation of his heart, the diamond heart, Vajrasattva, Dorje Sempa. See The Secret Doctrine, Book 1, page 571. Vajra here expresses the indestructibility and spiritually adamantine quality of this one unknown without beginning or end, unknown to the average or worldly person, but recognized by full initiates as the source of their divine inspiration and intuitions. The thunderbolt is particularly related to Chasmolim in the descending energy of the middle pillar, and even though Chesed is not on the middle pillar itself, it is nonetheless of great importance in this analysis. Again, the flaming sword goes through all of the Sephiroth anyway. The 10 ineffable Sephiroth have the appearance of the lightning flash. Their origin is unseen and no end is perceived. The word is in them as they rush forth and as they return. They speak as from the whirlwind, and returning fall prostrate in adoration before the throne. In the early edition, the words like scintillating flame are used. The Hebrew word is barak. Many Kabbalists have shown how the 10 Sephiroth are symbolized by the zigzag lightning flash. This zigzag lightning flash has been found to be formulated on the paths of the Tree of Life itself, enumerating to 777, if the paths from Binah to Chesed be taken as 3. For Gimel connects Arik Anpin with Zer Anpin. 777 is also the Olam HaKlafoth, or the world of the shells. The Klafoth, which refers to the broken lights or shells which were destroyed in the primordial fall of the lightning bolt or soul spark into a lesser mundane form. 888, 444, 777, etc. each illustrate the transmission and reception of Kabbalistic knowledge, as do the gradual emanations of, from 111 to 999, which is known as the Kabbalah of 9 chambers, also called Ayik Bakur, formed from the Hebrew alphabet of 22 letters, along with its 5 final letter forms, folded into a grid according to their geometric value of 1 through 9, 10 through 90, and 100 through 900. All of these various expressions are examples of what is called the literal Kabbalah, and that's also 444. And though much of this is all rather concise and literally connected, many Orthodox Kabbalists and magicians still have yet to admit even the possibility of a practical application of the Hebrew Kabbalah to English, much less Sanskrit or Tibetan or whatever terminology, as if doing so would in some way diminish the tradition, when in fact it strengthens, expands, and updates it. Much of this knowledge is actually somewhat new, while the fundamental Kabbalistic system is itself very ancient. English was non-existent in the times the Kabbalah was first being transmitted, and even though The language still fits with the legends, tenets, and axioms when analyzed in database form, such as I have created and published in Liber Mayan. The string of correspondences unveiled in the Kabbalah of 9 chambers, specifically the numbers 111, 222, etc., illustrates a sort of literal Kabbalistic expression of the middle pillar itself, being as it is a pillar or spectrum of the 9 numbers in trine form, a trine of trines. They are called chambers because they are like cells or shells, the world of shells being those primordial lights which broke in the fall, giving way to Malkuth, or the Nefesh, fallen animal soul, in Asaya, the material world, symbolized by the number 10, the broken monad. The 9 chambers are referenced in the Masonic legend of the 9th Arch, the Royal Arch of Enoch, under which was kept the secret name of God inscribed on a triangular gold plate. The 9 homeworlds are also mentioned in Norse mythology, and the Egyptians as well as the Greeks also had their Enneads and appending creation myths. It is almost as if the pillar were more like a ladder or staircase even. And simple reference to the number 999 in Liber 999, the number I later found to be that of Liber Mayan itself with a non-final, will show that this is a precise allocation for the staircase, which according to Freud in the interpretation of dreams, is a symbol of copulation and thus the act of emanation, manifestation, and reception, and essentially the libido or the kundalini, again chi. The symbolism of the ladder, staircase, and winding stairs is also featured in Masonry as symbolic of order, initiation, and the human spine or winding stairs of the temple mentioned. I don't know, I guess I copied and pasted this, I don't know. And they went up the winding stairs into the middle chamber. The body is the temple, and the middle chamber of Solomon's temple refers to the heart or Tifereth or Anahata chakra. If one looks at the center of the Kabbalistic grid, 555, which is a number also used in Masonic symbolism, it's seen to be a form of HNK, or Enoch, the master of the 9th Arch, whose name in Hebrew means initiate, initiator, founder, or dedicated, i.e. the initiated initiator and founder of Masonry. Also, Hermes is 555, and then so is master, both of which pretty much relate to that whole concept. In Hebrew, 555 is also Enoch Vithalek, and Enoch walked from Genesis 5:24, from the quote where it says, "And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him." The number 555 is further related to mystical resurrection and initiation, and how its sum is 15, the number of parts, including the lost phallus of Osiris, that Osiris was dismembered into by Set, according to Egyptian legends, or myths, whatever. There are Masonic depictions of the coffin with the numbers 555 inscribed, and Osiris is particularly symbolic of the resurrection, afterlife, and underworld, or Amenta. Atu 15, obviously, is the devil, another mask of the initiator, and ruler of the underworld. The 15th letter is O, the Hebrew letter Ayin, meaning I, which the English letter is obviously symbolic. E.A. Wallace Budge in Osiris and the Egyptian Resurrection says, "The name Osiris means many-eyed, and is rightly applied to the sun, which darts his rays everywhere, seeing as it were with many eyes what is on land and sea." Again, the middle chamber, 55 is also devil, so that's funny. 555, 555. Is associated with the sun, Tifereth, the heart, and Anahata. In Matthew 6:22, the words of Jesus are recorded as saying, "The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light." This is an alchemico-mystical expression referring to the unification of the inward and outward vision, and the disparate rays, or base metals, the metals is 555, into a balanced composite known as the chrysos or gold, of which the title Christ receives its origin. Thus, the many eyes become the one eye in 555, which from the central chamber forms the central or middle pillar. While middle pillar is 444, The balance is 111. Therefore, the middle pillar balance, or balance the middle pillar, is also 555, also illustrating this idea, the balance being especially related to Maat, the balancer or measurer, as presider over truth and justice. The risen Osiris is symbolized by the raising of the Jed pillar, the upright and stable pillar synonymous with the tree of life itself, as well as the spine, the upholder of the sky and cosmic stability. In the Ninth Arch, Kenneth Grant refers numerous times to the Tet, or Amentet, the hidden pillar established in the void of Amenta, the desert of Set. The name Set means a standing stone, relating, of course, to the Jed, which is also a standing stone. The Tet and Jed have a value of 23, the number of the hidden and secret Atu, which is equated with the lost word, or lost phallus, or omnific letter, or hidden word, which is symbolic of that which is yet to be, and the power of infinite potential, the power of the Jedi, the root of which is the Jed. It has long been known that there are 33 discs in the spinal column, also another number of initiation and masonry, and the Jed discs are said to intentionally exhibit this. 33 is, of course, the amplification of the 22 paths with the 10 Sephiroth, along with the hidden pillar or standing stone of Doth, the knowledge of the witch, also 33. Again, witch being really the wise one, or the wit, and the formula of Wicca, which is essentially a Western form of yoga, since it is essentially a bringing together and weaving of forces, paths, knowledge, magic, it's 33 also in simple gematria, etc. So again, the weaving, the web, spelling, spells. The Egyptian green-faced ram god Khnum, who is the union between Osiris, the underworld, and Ra, the sun, is the potter god of creation and fertility, and the ruler of the annual Nile inundation, a type of demiurge who fashions man on a potter's wheel out of clay. So again, that wheel, the Dharma chakra. The ram or horned one is also totemic of many nature deities, Amun-Ra, Pan, Cernunnos, the goat of Mendes or Baphomet, and even Moses was depicted with horns as symbolic of Aries. Again, the beginning of the cycle. Khnum is said to have reconstructed the limbs of the dismembered Osiris, as well as himself the personification of Ra in Osiris and Osiris in Ra, i.e. the fusing of the light and the dark, the day and the night, life and death, up and down, in and out, Kether and Malkuth. The horned one is of central importance to the Wiccan and Sabbatic craft traditions, and the symbol of the horns is, of course, obviously related to the double 1, 11, the number of Doth, as the knowledge of life and death. The spiral horn is reminiscent of the winding spiral staircase, which is related to the cone of power, cone using Kaf, so a veil, and again, also Kaf is the wheel of fortune. The cone of power mentioned throughout the Ninth Arch as a key to the true formula of transition to other dimensions. See page 341. Grant mentions how this idea was sigillized in a painting by Austin Osman Spare called Man is a Bundle of Ids. So again, the many and the one. And in his deeper explanation in Appendix 1, its true significance, particularly in regard to further expansion and integration of the middle pillar, is shown. A full quote of the appendix thus follows. The signs and symbols printed in books are stylized mnemonics, communicated by specific intelligences and or spirits. Again, intelligences and spirits, again, have to do a lot with time and light and darkness and the shades or the colors or the impressions that they give and that are associated therewith. So again, a lot has to do with timing, cycles. The sign of protection, however, is not formed as one would form a regular figure such as the pentagram, hexagram, etc., but according to requirement. A very special form of defense is necessary against hostile forces from outside. A particular angle of the figure has to be projected into another dimension, or outside of the cube. Such a figure cannot accurately be committed to paper, nor may it be traced in the air. Such a sign has plenary magical potential only when projected mentally by one who has established two-way traffic with his daemon. Again, the centering in the magnetic energy center of Tifereth. The true value of sits at 6. Whose word he has received. Those who have passed the pylon of Samek will be familiar with the curious sloping sensation that precedes a shift of consciousness beyond everyday awareness, as occurs in dreams, trances, ecstasies, profound anguish, terror, or in vertigo. The sign of protection is the most ancient form of the pentagram. It was known originally by the Kamite designation Sabao, meaning abode of stars. It is represented by the star of Set, figured in the heavens as the eye of the southern pole, itself symbolic of the Amenta or hidden land. As our model, we shall take the stylized pentangle, bearing in mind that it may only be suggested on a plane surface. When the word of the daemon is vibrated correctly, again, the hidden word, the lost word, synonymous with the hidden pillar, or the inner dimension, the fourth way, it extends the required angle of vision. This extension vibrates and creates a whirling cone, vortex, or funnel, which sucks in and destroys hostile forces. In the process, the star is distorted by elongating and twisting the appropriate angle out of proportion to the figure's remaining nodal points. So again, 555 and the pentagram, the cone, all of these are very much related if only you can understand the deeper meaning. The latter are then to be extended in turn according to the diverse directions. There occurs also a distortion of sound or of vibration, because it all essentially is vibration. It's all about breaking outside those circles of time. This phenomenon is paralleled by the Hindu pranava, which in ideographic form exemplifies lineally twisted sound. But there is an almost insurmountable obstacle to the projection of this vibration beyond the realms of the known universe. The sign of protection must needs reach beyond the ringed pass-not sentinels of astral, etheric, and mental rings, which are merely conceptual, if it is to penetrate the outside. Matter must be dematerialized and reintegrated as something quite other, in order to strike at the roots of invading alien influence. This basic fact was understood by the ancient adepts in some of their teachings on the subject of the Ein Sof, or outer void. Though without specific reference to the sign of protection, were incorporated in a paper prepared by more recent adepts of the Golden Dawn, entitled The Law of the Convoluted Revolution of the Forces Symbolized by 4 Aces of the Tarot Around the Northern Pole. Concerning the translation of matter from one dimension to another, the formula is described in Kabbalistic terminology, and its meaning will be seen to resonate with our remarks above. The symbol of the connection between the Malkuth of Yetzirah, the mental, and the Kether of Asaya, the material, will be a form somewhat resembling an hourglass, the thread of the Ein Sof, the golden thread, traversing the center thereof and forming the connection between the worlds, so that the symbol or hourglass of the connection between planes or dimensions is this, and also the modus operandi of the translation of the form from one plane or dimension to another is this hourglass. And hence does the title of the sphere of Kether of Asaya signify commencement of the whirling motion or twisted form or spiral. From the diagram of the hourglass symbol, it will be manifest that the Malkuth Yetzirah will be transmitter of the Yetziratic forces into the Kether of Asaya, that the latter will be the recipient thereof, and that the hourglass symbol or double cone will be the translator from one plane or dimension unto the other. Any forces in Malkuth may act through the upper cone of the hourglass symbol, and by means of the lower one translate its operation into the Kether below, but its mode of transmission will be through the cones by the thread of Ein Sof or of the unformulated. so that in the transmission between the two worlds, manifest and unmanifest, or AL and LA, the formulate must first become unformulate ere it can reformulate in new conditions. And a lot of this has to do, again, with the Kaf-Nia, or the backwards I, Kaf, again, the Wheel of Fortune, Nia, the backwards Ain. Other aspects of the cone were noted by Aleister Crowley in connection with the fourth dimension, which he worked into the fourth chapter of Moonchild. Austin O. Spare envisaged the cones as extending to infinity. Whilst en route, the points of the cones pierced the ethers like a needle, paralyzing any hostile force inhabiting them. In Spare's diagrammatic drawing, note that the descending cone depends from a pentagon, the extreme distortion of which is caused by space-time dilation. A similar distortion links the Zos-Illyron-Eosic complex in the formula of Zos-Vel-Thanatos, stylized, or more appropriately stellaized, in the plaque reproduced in Zos Speaks. Frater Achad had envisaged, independently and perhaps deployed, his star of manifestation, see diagram page 403, in a similar context. He hinted also at a mode of invocation involving a special order of Shaktis, or letters, points, in the 13 angles of the star to bring into manifestation the defensive influences of the Maoshan Gnosis. Achad's star was also thus a sign of protection. Many Typhonian implicits of the hourglass formula may be recognized in the following representations of key factors of the Aeon of Zain. The double cone comprises the 7 of Set and Typhon and the 8 of Isis in her dynamic phase, i.e. with Phallus, or with the I, or Yod, as New Isis. This is the key to the stela of 718. See AL chapter 3, verse 19. Fused with the stela of Zos-Vel-Thanatos as the basic formula of the Aeon of Zain, or Z-Ain. Again, the lightning bolt descending from the void, thus manifesting the thread of Ein Sof. The double cone comprises the 7 Set Typhon and the 8 Isis in her dynamic phase, i.e. with Phallus, as New Isis. In summary, the potency of the sign of protection is dependent upon the magician's ability to release and to direct the vibration of the word communicated to him by his daemon, and to sever with the sword, Zain, the intrusive tentacles from outside. And so here's one of the symbols from the Golden Dawn of what he was talking about with Kether and Malkuth reflecting. The hourglass or double cone created from the thread of Ein Sof is also mentioned in the Astronomical Tarot section of the Golden Dawn text, which relates the tarot with basic astronomical and astrological principles and mentions some interesting details about the hourglass connection of Malkuth and Kether. Now there will be not one but 4 formulae of the application of the 4 forces of Malkuth unto the revolution of the Aces and Kether, and these acting not singly but simultaneously and with a different degree of force. Were Malkuth or Kether in the same plane or world, the transmission of these forces would proceed more or less in direct lines. In this case, seeing that Malkuth and Kether be in different planes or worlds, the lines of transmission of these forces are caught up and whirled about by the upper cone of the hourglass symbol into the vortex wherethrough passeth the thread of the unformulated, i.e. Ein Sof. Thence they are projected into a whirling convolution, yet according unto their nature, through the lower cone of the hourglass symbol unto Kether. Whence it resulteth that these formulae are of the nature of the dragon, that is to say, moving in convolutions, and hence they are called the dragon or serpent formula. This is all a rather confusing mystical expression of the conceptualization of the formulations of emanation according to the tarotic and astro-symbolic terminologies. Donald Tyson, in his book New Millennium Magic, explains in detail, close to the beginning of the book, the nature of the manifest toroidal coil in the unmanifest 0 point, created if the top and bottom cones fold in on themselves and connect, which is the same shape of the macrocosmic galaxy as well as the microcosmic atom. The cone of power and the middle pillar are essentially one and the same, with the dual ability to bring down or manifest creative power or to raise up and exalt a power, or to sow a seed in the unmanifest. The flow of energy marked by the arrows in the diagram show the inward and upward and downward or outward channel, which itself resembles the growth of a tree, growing up, out, dropping its seeds and its dead material back down and cycled again. This would, of course, then be the mystical and magical tree of the knowledge of life and death, centered in the middle of the garden. The tree, in its spiral growth through space-time, is yet again related to the imagery of the staircase, which, as Freud said, is symbolic of copulation, generation, and genesis. The staircase, 999, emanates from the seed, 333, which in its most basic form is the symbol of soul, also known as the Anu Padaka. The supreme knowledge, also 999, of Dath is contained in the dot. Dath is literally Daleth Ayin Tau, so dot, at the center of the circle. According to Blavatsky in The Secret Doctrine, in the metaphysical world, the circle with its one central point in it has no number and is called Anu Padaka, parentless and numberless, for it can fall under no calculation. It is a center of energy, which I shall for the present call the Logos. It is called the Verbum by the Christians, and it is the divine Christos who is eternal in the bosom of his Father. Book 1, pages 118 through 155. It is from this center, which is everywhere and whose circumference nowhere, so again, Hadit and Nuit, that the unfoldment of the supernal triad gains energetic potential to manifest the lightning bolt flash of creation. The mathematical precision of the Kabbalistic conceptualizations show the framework to be both accurate and workable, and therefore even deeper and more intuitively reliable creative visualization can be undertaken when working the middle pillar ritual and channeling the powers of Azoth. And again, the Azoth is 111. So notice that whole inversion, that reflection. The hidden animating spirit associated with Akasha and the Ein Sof. In the beginning of my own initiations, I had conceived of my own gradual awakening as like that of an invisible thread which slowly becomes unwoven, like the coming undone of the hinges of the fundamental zones of reality, having deeply meditated on the nature of the numerical spheres. This weaving thread is the golden thread, or gold thread, of the Ein Sof, which extends infinitely into the two extremes, Ein, nothing, and Ein Sof, or the limitless light. The mystical thread is the source and medium of magical power itself, again, the Azoth, which is Malkuth, as cosmic manifestation, and again, Aleph, 111. As cosmic manifestations of the one substance which is aimed at being purified, consecrated, channeled, and or discharged through the middle pillar. And so here's the middle pillar ritual procedure. Establishing the pillar. Kether. After a few minutes of relaxation, imagine a sphere of white light just above your head. And again, the white light is 111. Vibrate the name Aheye, pronounced Aheye, meaning I am. And I am, that's 51. That's funny because this is post 51. Keep vibrating this word until it is the only thought in your conscious mind. Then imagine a shaft of light descending from your Kether center to your Doth center at the nape of the neck, or the throat too. Doth. From a sphere of light to the Doth center, vibrate the name Yod-He-Vav-He, or Yehovah, whatever you prefer, Elohim, meaning Lord of Hosts. Tiferet. Bring a shaft of light down from the Doth center to the Tiferet center around your heart. Form a sphere of light there. Vibrate the name Yod-He-Vav-He Eloah Vadath, pronounced Yod-He-Vav-He Eloah Vadath, meaning Lord of Knowledge. Yesod. See the shaft of light descending from Tiferet into the Yesod center in the genital region. Imagine a sphere of light formed there. Intone the name Shaddai El Chai, or Shaddai El Kai, meaning Almighty Living God. Malkuth. Visualize the shaft of light descending from Yesod into your Malkuth center at the feet and ankles. Vibrate the name Adonai Ha-Aretz, meaning Lord of Earth. Visualize the middle pillar complete. Circulate the light. Then circulate the light you have brought down through the middle pillar around the outside of your body to strengthen your aura. And so this goes with that, The Secret of the Golden Flower, which is like an ancient Chinese text. Perform each circulation a number of times. Circulation 1, side to side. Using the cycles, and let me guess, cycle is 51, so cycles is 111. Using the cycles of rhythmic breathing, bring the light down one side of the body and up the other, from Kether to Malkuth and back to Kether. Exhale and visualize the light descending the left side of the body. Inhale and imagine the light ascending the right side of the body back to Kether. Circulation 2, front to back. After performing this for a short space of time, imagine the ribbon of light descending from Kether down the front of your body to Malkuth and rising up your back, returning again to Kether. Circulation 3, the shower of light. Still employing rhythmic breathing, visualize the sphere of Malkuth, then see the shaft of light rising up the middle pillar in the center of your body. When it reaches Kether, imagine a shower of light cascading down the outside of your body as it descends to Malkuth again. Circulate the light in this manner for some time. Circulation 4, the ascending spiral. Then see the light rise again in a ribbon that spirals around the outside of your body from Malkuth to Kether. Closing. Finally, focus some of the energy back into your Tiferet center, the seat of equilibrium and balance. Often, the middle pillar is combined with a lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. To do this, perform the opening Kabbalistic cross, formulate the pentagrams, call the archangels, perform the middle pillar exercise, and then perform the closing Kabbalistic cross.